Hey, hi everyone. I hope you're doing good. And in this video, we're going to talk about a project which I did with my current firm. It's moves towards an automation project with the help of the VBA. So, to give you context or to set the what is the problem statement, why there was a need to create this automation, that in the context of audit, or be specifically in IT audit, uh, we perform the ITGC testing, right? And in ITGC testing, access management being one of the critical domain, there are certain sub domains like access creation and access modification and so on. Right now, this tool is particularly focusing on access creation and modification. So what we are doing is that we are again specifically on SAP ITGC audit, we take the change document dump through SUIM code, and then that dump we get it from the clients, and it is pretty similar. 90% is mostly similar across all the versions. So just to give you context, SAP has multiple versions like SAP ECC, SAP Rise, SAP HANA, and so on. So the dump is pretty much same, subject to 10% change here and there depending on version change. And the analysis we do is pretty repetitive in task, right? So that was the main motivation or object of this tool. So whatever the repetitive analysis we do, that can be automated, so that will obviously boost my efficiency, right? So that was the main objective and goal of this tool. So with this tool we achieved to increase the efficiency, and with one click you just need to input that file and then execute that script, so that will do the automations. So I think it will be better that I can just show you how the tool works so that you can get a visual presentation of what exactly automation we are talking about. Okay, so this was the problem statement. Moving to the next part is the macro settings. Yeah, so this entire tool is based on the VBA macros. So for that you need to enable the macros, so I will just guide you how to enable that macro in case there are any errors. So this is the Excel file. I will try to give you a link in the description file, and then go to the file, then go to the options, and here you can see the trust center. Click on that and then go to the trust center settings. Now here you need to go again to the macro settings. There are three settings which you need to take into consideration. One is the macro settings. You need to enable all the VBA macros. You need to also put a check mark on these two settings in order to run this script pretty well, right? Once you do that, right, before running the script, in case you get any kind of error that again the macros is not enabled, and I will just try to highlight that error. Here it is not coming because it is randomly coming on every file of the Excel file, again depend upon the trust center settings. So I will try to give you the image in the video. So what you need to do is that for that error you just need to close this file and just locate the file where this file has been saved. Right click on it, go to the properties, and on this right bottom there will be a check mark to unblock. You need to click on that unblock, click on apply, and then click on OK. And once you open that file again, that particular error of macro will be gone, right? So once the file is error free, then you are pretty good to execute this file, because if there is any kind of the error, this macro error, this file will not get work, or the script will not work, because it is entirely based on the macro, right? Okay, some key points that should be taken into consideration before executing this script is that whatever the file you get, if it is in a CSV format, pretty sure the tool will not work, because it is supported only to .xlsx files. So you need to manually convert that .csv file into .xlsx files. Secondly, when you're putting this path right here, the path should include the folder path as well as the file path. As you can see here, the change underscore document along with the extension has to be also inputted here in order to recognize that file by the tool, right? And there are multiple buttons, so I will just give you the brief. On a high level, there are two worksheets. One is the path of SUIM file where you need to put the path, and one is a custom. I will come back to this at a later stage, but on this there are certain set of the instruction that should be taken into consideration. This is the field where you need to put the path, right? One validation control is that you cannot edit this. The thing which is editable is path, because that is something dynamic and user need to input it manually, right? There are two buttons. One is the input details. So primary, this is the main button. Second one is execute sampling, and that has to be used only in the case of the manual sampling. What is a manual sampling, what is automatic sampling, that will come back again at a later stage, right? Okay, and yeah, there is also a custom worksheet. If I want to go, there is a custom worksheet. I will again explain that how this is helpful and why we have made this custom worksheet. Now going back to the input details, let's say if I click on the input details, right? So before clicking on the input details, I need to make sure that the path of the file is correct. So as you can see, this is the change document. I will also give you, this is the folder location. If I press Alt D, that is the path, and apart from the path, this is the file which we are targeting here. And I have opened this file. So this is the file, this is the brief file which we get. This is for the SAP ECC version. The format is for SAP ECC version 6.0, and this is the file we get, and we perform a certain set of analysis on this in order to do our ITGC testing, right? So you can see this is the file. It is, if you see on a high level, this is not even a formatted file, this is not even a structured file, this is a raw file which is coming directly from the SAP. And in order to do set of analysis, you need to remove this column. First of all, remove this row. There are 4 rows which are of no use, and then there is headers, and those manual activities can be pretty much avoided with the help of this tool. Okay, got it. What I will do is that I will have already given the path of it. Now irrespective of whether this file is opened or closed, this tool will pretty work. So I will click on input details. Right now we'll talk about some of the validation controls. So there are some key information that has to be fed by the user in order to work this tool pretty well, right? And all these fields are mandatory. So even if I click on execute script, it will give me error that name of the client is required. When I type name of the client, it will again give me error that date period to and date period from is required. Okay, so name of the client is the name of the client for which you are running the script. Date period from, this is very important. So what is data period from is that, let's see, your data for the file is pertinent to 1st April 2024 to 30th September 2024. So you need to write here 1st April 2024 and 30th September 2024. There are 2 ways you can directly input date like that, which is very faster, but I have also given a calendar option which you can choose. Then the SAP version, very important, because this will determine the format which you are using. So right now it's ECC, you can click on here, and as you can see, once I click, so before that it was nothing. If I click SAP ECC, there is a small instruction or a text which is appearing, which is hover to see format. So if you hover on this, you will get a predefined SAP ECC format which is supported by this tool, right? So if you hover on this, you will get a ECC format which is expected by the tool. And if your file is similar to this format, you can set on SAP ECC. If your file is not in this format, you have a custom option which we will talk in a later stage. You can just close on this. And there are multiple versions like SAP HANA, SAP RISE, and as well as custom. So right now this is for ECC. I will click on ECC. Now there is again a difference between a sampling. So one is automatic sampling and one is a manual sampling. Okay, so what I will do is that to give you a difference between what is an automatic sampling and what is a manual sampling, if you click on automatic sampling, you just need to feed the number of the samples which the script wants to take, right? Let's say user creation, I want to take 25 samples, and user modification, I want to take 25 samples, right? In case of manual sampling, there is no option to provide, because you're taking the manual. What happens is many times where professional judgment came into play, and then it is, I mean, some of the user might be of favorable that they want to choose this specific samples, right? In that case, this manual sampling option is given. So obviously at a later stage, we are going to run for automatic sampling as well as the manual sampling. So at that time, you will get a more idea what is manual sampling. But right now, we just proceed with the automatic sampling and count of line items as per screenshot. So what does this mean is that if you go to this file, right, okay, so I need to close this because I cannot count this. So I will just close this pretty quickly, and let's count the line items as per this, which is 8226. You need to feed that as well. So I'm going again and I need to write it again. I'll just quickly write that. Okay, 25 samples of user creation, 25 samples of user modification, and 8226. So this is the count. Okay, and now I click on execute, it will execute that. But let me just tell you some of the validation controls before executing the script. You see, if I mean, like the format of the date, right? It is dd/mm/y. if I input date as 1-4-2024, this is not an expected date format by the tool, and if I try to execute this, I will get an error that please make sure that the format of the data period from has to be in the dd/mm-/yy. Okay, so let's correct this. That was one of the validation control. The another validation control is the name of the sample counts, right? Let's say if I put it as, let's say by mistaken, A25, so alphabet should not be included. So if I execute the script, it will give me error that please input only numericals in the number of the user creation samples. So this has to be again the numerical field only. Okay, yeah. And then just to give you a difference between what the SAP version and is custom is that, as earlier mentioned, that there are only limited formats which the tool is supporting right now. Those are SAP ECC. SAP HANA provides, there are two formats. One is a report format, which is an Excel, which is very pretty much standardized, and one is a CSV format. So CSV format is not supported by this tool. Only the report format in the Excel version is supported by this tool. SAP Rise is again pretty similar to the SAP HANA report. And in case, let's say, if you have received any other format from the client, you can always use the custom option, right? So to give you a difference between what is this custom is that if you click on this link, this worksheet, obviously we are going to a run. You need to just copy and paste the data into that template, and then this script will run as if your template is your input file and do all the analysis by its own, right? Okay, so I will just click on SAP ECC. And again, to give you a difference between automatic and manual, I think so we have explained that in case of automatic, it is taking the samples based on the number of counts, and in case of manual, this is required in the case of professional judgment. Okay, I think so then now it's a good time to run this. There is one more validation control, which is outliers, which I will show you at the later stage. What, just to give you the brief context, what that will do is that in case your data period has some line items which is not falling under this dates, let's say March 2024, there are 3 entries. The script will identify those 3 entries and will not execute. It will give you the pop-up that outliers has been found, and it will again copy those outliers in a separate worksheet. Okay, so right now we can execute script. As you can see, this file doesn't have any worksheets apart from the raw worksheet, right? But once I execute this script, there will be multiple worksheets which will be ongoing, which will be done by the VBA itself. Okay, so let's just click on the execute and then just wait for it to do its overall job. So first of all, it will be it will add multiple worksheets based on its concatenate functions, and there is a pivot as well. There are multiple filters which has been involved. Since it's automatic sampling, that it will automatically take 25 random samples of the user creation, and the same will be applied to user modifier. As you can see, there is a yellow color, it's tagged with the user creation, and the orange color is tagged with the user modifications. Once the sampling has been done, it will again take the samples, and as you can see, you get a pop-up message saying that the script ran successfully. We will just click on the OK. And if I alt tab and go to this document, there was only one worksheet before running the script, which is change document. And as you can see, there are multiple worksheets right now has been included. One is the concatenate, one is the pivot, one is the segregation, one is the required columns, population, user creation. So I think we have taken 25 samples of the user creation. So if I just scroll it down at the bottom just to see the count of the samples, yeah, this is the last count, after which there is no samples. 25 it has taken in case of user creation, and 25 samples it has taken for the user modification. Okay, so this was in the case of user creation and modification. In the case of the automatic sampling, what I will be doing is that I will just delete this worksheet. We can do a similar for the manual sampling. I will just press Ctrl S to save the changes in the workbook. I can close this as well, and let's take input details. It is, and then I will just write again the dates from 2 dates ECC manual 8226 being the count. And now as you can see, there is no option of automatic samples, how many number of the samples you need to take for the in the case of the user creation and modification, because we are choosing the manual sampling. And once you execute, that file will get opened. And so manual sampling is nothing but a subset of automatic sampling, where it is not taking the samples by its own. So it is doing all the automation to a certain stage where you need to choose some samples. So what we will be doing is that we'll be going to the segregation worksheet, and we will highlight user creation samples in yellow and user modification samples in orange, right? So this is the instruction which I was talking about, that what instruction that should be taken into considerations before taking the samples is that the user need to move to the use segregation, and then there are some filters which we need to apply. That we need to apply one column WCC remarks filter of user creation, and then select some samples in and highlight those in yellow, and similar exercise in the case of the user modification. One important thing that should be taken into consideration, as you can see, the colors are pretty sensitive, right? So these are the only standard colors, only two colors, yellow in case of the user creations and amber or orange in case of user modification. Even if there is slight change, even if you select a slight different palette color, the RGB value will get differ, and the tool will recognize that there are no user creation or no modification samples, right? So we'll just close this. We'll go back to the sheet where there was only one worksheet. As you can see, there are multiple worksheets which has been done by the VBA, and we will go to the segregation worksheet as it has indicated us. We will go to the WCC remarks column. We will filter it out to only user creation, and let's take, I think, 5 samples of user creation. I will just highlight this. So standard color yellow. We'll go again to WCC remarks and choose some modification sample. This time let's take 10 samples of user modification, and we'll go to the standard amber or orange color. We need to press Ctrl S, and then you can go back, and there is a second button which I was talking about, that this button you need to click, and then again a notice will become, and then there is an execute sampling. So this button is applicable only in the case of the manual sampling, where the professional judgment came into play. And once I click on execute sampling, it will do again the same set of sampling, because this time the only difference is that the 2 samples has been selected by us, and it is giving me the pop-up that the script ran successfully. If I go back to the user creation samples and scroll it down, I will see there are 5 samples of user creation, and similar in the case of 5 samples in the case of, we have taken, I think, 10 samples in the case of the user modification. So this was for user creation and modification samples automation or manual sampling. There is one more sheet which we are talking about, is a custom worksheet. So I will just give you a sample run of that as well. So as earlier mentioned, if this formats which we are hover, if you hover here, you will see a formats. If these are not the formats which is aligning as per your format or the format of the file which is given by the client, right? There is always a residual category which you can select as a custom. So before that, what you need to do is that go to the custom worksheet and just probably go to the raw worksheet, and as you can see, the column headers are pretty much defined. So whenever you are pasting the data, it is always from the row 2, so you don't need to copy the headers. Now in this case, the columns are matching with my template, but not always be the case. It may be possible that the start date and end date is at the very much first rather than in the last, as shown here, right? So what you need to do is again make sure that the columns are aligned, and based on that you just need to copy and paste the data. So headers in both the files are pretty much in a sequential manner. I will just copy this whole data. Okay, and I will press Ctrl Shift B so that I can paste it in values. And just to be on the same line, 8226 was the line items. As you can see, 8226 is the line item. And then what I will do is that I will go back to the again path of SUIM file. Now in this doesn't matter, to be very honest, because here the custom worksheet is added, and what it will do is that it will create a new file and save it in the same directory where this SUIM script file is stored. So right now, as you can see, SUIM script file is stored in this folder, SUIM folder, and here is the change document, which is the raw file. There will be one more file which will be created once we execute this script, so if you are using the custom option, this path function, path for field doesn't make any sense. You can just leave it blank, or you can leave it inputted. But anyways, in the script, it is already taking the path of that newly file created and putting that in this field, so that it will be useful in the case of automatic sampling. Okay, so since this has been done, we will again click on input details, and we will again write the same details, which is a date period from date period to. Now very important is that we need to select the SAP version as custom. And right now let's take an example of automatic sampling, and let's take again 25 samples or maybe 10 samples of user modification, and count was 8226. So if I run this execute script, what it will do is that it will create a new file, copy the worksheet, which is nothing but the custom worksheet, which was nothing but the worksheet where the data was pasted from the raw worksheet, and it will perform the similar set of analysis which we saw in automatic sampling, right? So it will take a while, and then I think once it has been done, I will just showcase you how it has been done. We have taken 25 samples of the user creation and 10 samples of the user modification. So once the script is done, I will just show you how this samples has been taken randomly by the tool. Now the script has run successfully. We'll just click on OK. One thing you notice, the data has been removed. This has been made because in case user wants to again use a similar custom format for another client, they just need to don't delete the data. The data is automatically deleted by the tool once the script has run. And coming back, as you can see in the SUIM script file, there was only 2 files, and right now you can see there is one more custom file which has been created, which is ti-custom-30 September 2024, and which is opened here as well. And here is the raw data, here is the concatenate, and all the analysis which we saw in the automatic sampling that has been done. And I think so we have taken 25 samples of the user creations. So let's quickly scroll down to see whether the 25 samples, yeah, the 25 samples has been taken. In the case of the user modification, we took 10 samples. So these are the 10 samples. So this was again I think pretty helpful. Last thing I would like to show you is the outlier validation. So this is in the case where, let's say for example, you have data from 1st April 2024 to 30th September 2024, and there are some outliers, let's say 30th March or 31st March 2024, which is not falling into your data period. The script will pop up those outliers. Okay, for that what we need to do is probably first of all I will just copy this path quickly, because as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the path field has been changed to the new file which has been created. This has been automatically done by the tool. But right now, for the purpose of showing that validation control of outlier, I will just copy a new path and this file. Okay, and I will just go to this change document, and just let's say for example, okay, there are multiple worksheets which we need to delete because we I think ran manual sampling on this file. So I will just that. Now it becomes like a fresh raw file. What I will do is that, let's say for the first probably 5 line items, I will just or let's say 4 line items, I will just change the month of April to, let's say, March. I will just use a replace tool. I will find 04 and replace it with 03. As you can see, the first 4 line items has been treated for the March 2024 month. I will just click on save, and let's go on input details. TIL 1st April 2024 and 30th September 2024. Right now we will just click on ECC. We will take only manual sampling because we know that we will be getting errors, so it will not go ahead. And once I click on execute script, right, it will do all the analysis, and you will that yes, outliers are found and which have been copied to outliers sheet, and the script will stop working. So this was the raw file. It did concatenate some of the first step, but it during the concatenate or after completing the concatenate step, it found some of the line items which are not falling into the data period which we have provided. So these are the 4 line items which we have given of the March 2024, and this will be treated as an outliers because our data period is starting from the 1st April 2024, right? So user needs to correct this and then again run the script. So I think this was the kind of comprehensive demo or a tutorial of this project which I did. There are certain things which is ongoing and which are on the pipeline to improve, and I think in case if there is any major changes which I will be doing to this tool, I will obviously make an update video, and I will explain that what are the major changes and a change log which has been done. So I think if you, I mean, it's pretty good, right? Because this kind of automation does help a lot and boost efficiency by a greater margin, right? When I did for the first time, this took me around, not really sure, but 30 to 45 minutes, pretty for a person who is doing for the first time. But with this script, I think so it is hardly taken, I think, less than 10 seconds in case of automatic sampling. Yes, in case of manual sampling it will take some time because you need to manually choose, but yeah, automatic sampling does makes it very fast, and within less than 10 seconds you get all the analysis done by the tool. So if you have any queries, or put it just in the comment section, and please share this video with your friends and network so that they will be aware of, with the help of the VBA we can automate many repetitive tasks to again boost your productivity and efficiency. Hope you like this video. If you have any concerns, please let me know. Have a good day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.